Morning, everyone. You are welcome to today's session on literature review. The speaker is already here with us, so let me just use the opportunity to welcome our speaker, Professor Abiodun Musa AIBINU. You are highly welcome, sir.
Thanks a lot for the introduction, and let me welcome our audience here this morning. So I will be talking about citing and referencing, and at the same time, I will be sharing my experience on how to fill that the review template. So let me begin by telling you a bit of citing and referencing. So that's what I will be talking or discussing this morning. But before going further, let me also inform us that the video for section 2 have been shared with us. So also the material for section 2 and 3. So if you don't have the materials, let us know. And we also have the video available for you. So today, we are just going to be looking at citing and referencing, but we are going to be looking at IEEE style. So this is just a brief about me. I'm presently the Vice Chancellor and the Chief Academic and Executive Officer of Summit University of Art. So this is the purpose of this session. Number one, I will be talking about what is citing and referencing, why citing and referencing is important, and how to cite sources using the IEEE style, and how to write reference lists in the IEEE style. Again, writing a thesis, a dissertation or article is we are going to be handling that in the next few years for some of us that are still in other levels. Why for some of us in our master's and PhD study program, you will agree with me that citing is so much important. And when you are writing a dissertation or article for publication, you need to read widely and analyze the work of others. We have learned about that during the first, second, and third session in this series. And then we have also been told, that was on day 2 or during the second session, that we need to use as many sources as we can, which this one includes the use of textbooks, journal papers, newspapers article, reports, web, and so on. And even yesterday, we were told that we need to read at an appropriate academic level that commensurate with the study we are doing. And we have been analyzing that and discussing that for the past 3 or 4 sessions. And we were also told that there is need for us to use good quality sources. So those things have been mentioned, and we have learned from different presenters in the last 4 or 3 sessions. So today is about citation and referencing. Cite and referencing. In your assignment, when we say assignment, it may be in your thesis or in your papers, you must demonstrate that you have used relevant, good quality sources. And how do you do that? You provide what is called in-text citation. You provide what? In-text citation. And at the end of the day, there must be what we call a reference list. So to justify that you have consulted and used relevant, good quality sources, you must provide in-text citations and a reference list or bibliography at the end of your work. What is an in-text citation using IEEE format? 1, it involves the use of a square bracket with the reference number written inside that square bracket. Please take note, square bracket. square bracket. That is what they call that's what IEEE in-test citation is all about. You use square bracket, not author and year or authors and year, but you use square bracket with Arabic numeral inside that bracket. E.g., according to one means that according to the paper listed or the article listed on my reference list as number 1, the interwar period was so. That was 1, and then it can be 2 as shown that, and then as Lee pointed out, it has been suggested by 4. So a number of authors, including this, argued that. So what you are seeing on your screen now, it is what they call in-test citation. In-test citation. And then using the IEEE format. What is a reference list? A reference list is just a list of all the sources you have cited in the text of your assignment. It may be in your paper or in your thesis or so on. So a list of the sources you have cited in the text of your assignment. That's what we normally have on the reference list. And then presented at the end of your work in chronological order by appearance in the main text. That is, if you are using IEEE format. Chronological order by appearance. Unlike upper format or other format that is, it has to be author's name arranged in alphabetical order. But in IEEE format, it is always in chronological order by appearance in the main text. And you do not list book first, nor list journal first or paper first, then list other. No. It is by appearance that you prepare the reference list. Again, an in-test citation for IEEE format involves the use of a square bracket with the reference number written inside that square bracket. And then a reference list is just a list of all the sources you have cited in the text of your assignment. It may be in your paper publication, it may be in your thesis and the rest. However, a reference list is different from a bibliography. A bibliography lists all of the sources you have read to help write your assignment. As I've said, when you say assignment here, it may mean your thesis, it may mean a paper you are writing, it may mean an article you are writing, but so assignment is what you have used. So when you have a bibliography, you have to include all the sources you have read, not only those ones that appeared in the main text. So bibliography is different from reference list. So the next question is that which one are you going to use? The basic answer is ask your supervisor or your supervisory team if to use bibliography or reference list, or you can ask your postgraduate school if you are, or your lecturers. So please, reference list or bibliography. Now, the next question, which is so much important, is should I cite? At what point do you cite? If I ask us, let's take a quiz like that. I want you to type in the test, in the chat message, at what point do you think we should cite or you should cite? So please type it and let's see. And then if you are so sure, you can unmute yourself and let's listen to you. At what point do you think you need to cite? So let's take a minute or 2 minutes for that. At what point do you think you must cite? So I'm going to pause here just to allow for feedback. At what point? So you can unmute yourself, or you can type it, or you can use the raise up button icon, then I will call you. At what point do you think we should cite? So that is the question. When should I cite? So if you are so sure, you can unmute yourself and just, so let me listen to one or two two of you, regarding at what point should we cite? Yes? Anybody? Okay, I have someone saying where you feel the information should be. Just a minute.
Hello.
Yes,
Good
hello.
morning, sir.
Yeah,
Good good morning, sir.
yeah. Please go ahead.
Yes, my name is Badaru Abiola Abdul Basit. To start with, permit me to quickly appreciate you for giving us this wonderful lecture. And as
Thanks a
regard the
lot.
question you asked, at what point do we cite? To the best of my knowledge, I believe we cite when we are quoting what has been done in the works of some scholars that want to make use of their work. So whenever we see something that is similar to what we are using in our own assignment, we may preferably quote what that person has written in his work, or better still, we paraphrase what that person has used. Maybe that person has used something, so to avoid plagiarizing his work, we can just use it in our own words. So when using his work or that scholar's work in our personal work, then we will need to paraphrase that work so that we will be able to avoid plagiarism. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that explanation. So I want us to pick about three keywords for me. He mentioned paraphrasing. He mentioned copying work, and then he also mentioned avoid plagiarism. So now, okay, from Olusho Yadewumi, he wrote, where you feel the information should be quoted in verbatim from the source that will contribute to your argument. And from Ganiyu Sikiru, okay, we have at any time you present a definite claim. And then another person said, for every strong statement, there must be reference to source. Yes. And another person, if what you are quoting is not from you or of your own making, yes. And then another person, when one quote two or more word verbatims or even. And then another person wrote, paraphrasing is equally important to avoid plagiarism, quite important. And then someone said, at the end of every sentence, paragraph, use that is not us. Okay, thanks a lot, everybody. So I want us to pay attention to what we have on the screen now. This is when we should cite. Number one, when what you are presenting is a quote, you need to ask yourself first, or let's say always ask yourself, should I cite? If it is a quote, yes, cite it and place double quotation marks around the text. Again, as has been mentioned, as mentioned previously by one of the participants here, when you are quoting. So if it is a quote, yes, you must cite. And citing means you must use double quotation mark. If it is not a quote, then you must ask yourself, is it a paraphrase? If it is yes, if what you have presented or that sentence is paraphrase, if it is a paraphrase, then you must cite it. Assuming it's neither a quote nor a paraphrase, then you need to ask yourself, is it another idea or theory that is not yours? If yes, then you must cite. If no, then there is no need to cite if it is common knowledge or your own thinking or your own thoughts. Again, use this to always determine when to cite or not. Again, just ask yourself, is it a quote? If your answer is yes, then you must cite it. If your answer is no, then you don't need to cite. The next question you will ask yourself is it a paraphrase? If yes, then you must cite. If no, then you need to ask, Is it another person's theory or idea? If yes, you must cite. If no, then there is no need for you to cite, and especially if it is a common knowledge. Let's now go again and look at, before going further, let's just look at this IEEE explain and how you have to do it. Number one, I have said is an in-text citation, and you use square bracket with Arabic numeral in that square bracket, because that allows readers to know when you are stating an idea, fact, or test that is not your own. Don't forget, if the idea is not yours, then you must cite. So, and it also allows people or readers to know that, to know the original owner of the idea, and then it assists them to find full details of the source in your reference list. So that is what you call in-text. Like now, you can see what you have on the screen now. In 11, a technique is proposed for tracking this. So that means that 11 is the one that proposed that technique. Just hold on, please. Okay. So this is a reference list that is IEEE style. You can see that it is numbered there. Oh, okay, or we have it numbered. So this is a good reference list. And then, but don't forget, this is totally different from Harvard style or APA style and the rest. So look at it. For IEEE style, you use the square bracket. For IEEE style, you use the square bracket, but for author and year, the Harvard style or upper format, you use author's name and year. So, but they are meant to achieve the same thing. So let us now look in detail what is IEEE, why cite and reference now. Why we must do it. Number one, it is a good academic practice and enhances presentation. And again, it allows you to acknowledge the work of others and allows your supervisor to differentiate between your own work and the work of others. And again, to locate where you have obtained or source for that information. That's why we must cite and provide the reference. So it comes together, citation and referencing. And then it also allows you to demonstrate that you have gathered evidence to support your ideas or argument, and you have used credible, good quality sources, as Engineer Yinka, Engineer Bala, and Mr. Ibrahim Salahu mentioned in section 1, 2, 3, respectively. So number one, it allows you to demonstrate that you have gathered evidence to support your ideas. Number two, you have used credible, good quality sources. And again, you have read widely. And lastly, you have read at an appropriate academic level. You remember that on the first and second day, or during the first and second sessions, we were arguing, or we made a suggestion that for undergraduate thesis work or final year project, 50 articles should suffice, or is averagely okay. Why for masters, we agree that it should be between 100 and 150, and then PhD 250. As mentioned on that day also, we should not be fixated with the number. We just mentioned that just like a guide. So don't let us say it must be this. No, just suggestions. So at an appropriate academic level, that's important. And you could remember someone mentioned plagiarism. What is actually plagiarism? Plagiarism has to do with not citing or providing references for ideas or code from other authors. and you may be accused of copying someone's work. Simply put, plagiarism is defined as presenting someone else's work as your own work, and we call it academic theft. So, to avoid plagiarism, you must always note accurately and fully the details of all the sources you have consulted. So, that is what plagiarism is all about. And in order not to be accused of that, that's why we are saying, or that's why plagiarism, that's why referencing and citation, they are so important. So, cite and referencing style, or citation and referencing style, we have the Harvard style that has to do with author and year, or what is called author and date. We have the APA format. APA is an acronym for American Psychological Association. It's also about author and year. We have the MLA. MLA is also an acronym for Modern Language Association, which has to do with author and date, and the Modern Humanity Research also, and Chicago. But the one we are talking about today has to do with IEEE style. IEEE is an acronym also for Institute of Electrical and Electronics. So for you to know what you are to use, just ask your supervisor or your supervisory team. Just ask your supervisor or supervisory team. In most higher institutions, especially for STEM-related fields, they sometimes allow APA, that is American Psychological Association, or IEEE style. So what is IEEE style? IEEE style has three main parts or main sections. Number one, the author name or the author's names. If it is also, it normally starts with the initial and the surname. And then this differentiated from the MLA style, where the surname comes first. But in IEEE, you use the first name and the surname, or initials and the surname. A.M.IBINU. But if it is MLA, it is the other way, AIBINU, A.M. So then the second part is the title of an article, and that one is always in quotation mark, and the last one is title of journal or book, and you must have that one in italics. So let's look at it. So this is a typical example. G, that's the initial dot the surname, and then you can see the title of the article in quotation, Infrared Nation. That's the title, and then you can see the title of the journal, italicized, so in italics. And again, you have other information like the volume, and then if it pp dot, that pp must be in small case if it is more than one page. If it is just a page, you are allowed to use just p dot 59. But in this case now, it's more than a page, so that's why we are using pp dot, and you cite the page, comma, and the year. So this is typically IEEE style for your referencing. Again, IEEE style for your referencing. When must I provide the citation? So we have looked at that, and let's now revisit it. Whenever you are quoting directly, that is, you are using another person's idea in their words, or you have paraphrased, that is, present another person's idea in your words, or you have summarized, express another person's idea using fewer words, or you have used someone else's ideas, or you have adopted another person's research methodology or survey or experiment, then, or you have used someone else's table. So when you have all this, then all or any, then you must provide, you must cite the source or the sources. So let's look at this one. When you are quoting directly, what we have here as a in-text citation is more or less MLA or APA format, where you use authors and name. So, but what I want us to pay attention to is putting the whatever you are putting that sentence in quote. If you present an information exactly it's appeared, then you must use quotation. That is what I'm sharing there. But let's look at this one. This is what I want us to pay serious attention. Let's look at the original text. Member of Parliament that MPs were not paid the salary until 1912. In medieval times, constituents sometimes paid a member and met some of the expenses of sending an MP to Westminster. But the parties died at the end of 17th century, and thereafter MP needed personal wealth. So, but now that's the original idea. You can see that it has been paraphrased here in the second text in white. Until 20th century, you can see that that original text has been represented with fewer words or using another thing. So that's why you must cite, because this is a paraphrase. This first example has to do with quoting directly, while this one has to do with paraphrasing. Let's look at this third one, summarizing. Don't forget, whenever you summarize someone else's idea or work or sentences or statement, you must cite. So look at the main text there and look at the summary there. That is, the original text read, the proportion of manual workers in the ranks of the Parliamentary Labour Party declined from 1945 to 1979 from approximately 1 from approximately 1 in 4 to 1 in 10 of the 412 Labour MP elected in 2001. 12% were drawn from manual background. So you can see the source there. And you can now see the summary there that since 1945, the proportion of manual worker in the Parliamentary Labour Party has fallen from 25% to 12% in 2001. So you can see the summary. Why must you cite here? Very simple, because the first sentence there that we have on the screen have been what? Summarized. Shortened and written, but the key point is what? Maintain. That's why you must summarize and you must cite. At what point do you think we don't need citation? Number one, when it's your own idea or ideas or theories or argument or conclusion. When the survey and experiment design have been carried out by you, when it's your own research methodology, or when it's even a basic knowledge. E.g., Glasgow is in the west of Scotland. Let's say Offa is in Kwara State now. That's a basic knowledge. But when you now say Offa is in Kwara State and that's a population of 400,000, then for that figure you have provided, then you need to give us the source. That's when citation is required. But if it is a general knowledge that Kwara State is in Planet Earth, that's a general knowledge. So you don't need to provide size. So again, this is the summary. You need to ask yourself, at what point do I cite? So the last part of today's talk, we will now be talking about digital object identifier. Digital object identifier. So some database provide what is called DOI, digital object identifier. That's a unique permanent identifier provided by publishers so that an article can always be found online. That is what you call digital object identifier. With the DOI, you can easily get the document back at any particular point in time. So that's digital object identifier. And then sometimes after on your reference list, you can also include your DOI. And some schools or higher institutions, even after providing the name, author, all those 3 points or 3 parts we have mentioned, they will still ask you to provide the DOI, so that anybody that will like to access the document after that will be able to just click on the DOI and get the document. It's important. And there is also what we call secondary referencing. Secondary referencing occurs when the author of the source you are reading refers to the work of another author, and you want to use that work of the other author. That's when we call secondary referencing. E.g., you are reading a book written by Clarks, and then you are reading a book written by Taylor, but Taylor in his book mentioned another book written by Clarks. So that's what you call secondary referencing. So for the example we have here, we have Clark's book refers to a book written by Taylor. In this case, now it means you are reading Clark's book, but that Clark's book cited another book, and the author of that book is Taylor. So if you cannot locate the original work by Taylor, and you believe that Clark's interpretation of Taylor's work is reliable, whom do you cite there? And how do you handle that? That's what we call secondary referencing. So these are the two ways, but what we have presented there is just using APA or MLA format, but it's almost the same thing. If you want to use IEEE style, just replace the author name by that square bracket. That is, if you want to cite secondary, it will now be according to Taylor, cited in Clark. According to Taylor, cited in Clark. So, or Clark citing Taylor notes that. So what should now appear on your reference list? You have only read Clark's work. You have not read that other work. So it's the one that you have read that must appear in your reference list, except if you have had access to Taylor's work also. So then in that case, you can cite the two. That is also even if you have information in that first one. So that is about secondary referencing. So please, whenever you are reading books, journals, and articles, and you need to prepare your reference list, these are what you take note: the name, the author's name, the title, the publication date, the edition, the place of publication, the publisher, and the page number. And then if it's about DO, if it's electronic resources, then don't forget to look for the DOI also, the web address. Majorly, if you use the template that we shared yesterday and in session 3 and then in session 2, we have provided a column for you to put the DOI. So most of the information here, or most of the parameters we have here, we have to fill them in that template. For journal articles, don't forget you need the names of article authors, the title of the article, title of the journal, date when journal was published, the page number of the journal, the volume, and the page number used. And then conference papers also the same thing. There are a lot of reference management software. We have the EndNote, we have LaTeX, we have lots, but maybe in other sessions, we will introduce you to some of these reference management software. Summarily, when you use ideas from someone else or that refers to or quote from another person's work, remember you must acknowledge this in your work by citing in the text and providing a reference list. Ensure that your citation and reference are complete, accurate, and consistent by keeping note of the sources you have used and where you have found them. That's my summary. And then if you present work containing ideas or quotes from other authors without acknowledging their work, even if you do so accidentally, you may be accused of plagiarism. Please always be mindful of all these things. And then for further information, so you can consult all this. The slide I've used here today was actually from Professor Okechukwu. He prepared it and shared it with us about 7 years ago. So using this opportunity to acknowledge him for a job well done. It is on this note I say thank you all and God bless you. So this is for citing and referencing. So this is the 4th session in this series. Thank you all, and now it's now time for us to ask questions.
Thank you, sir, for that wonderful. Thank you, sir, for that wonderful presentation. We are very grateful, and I hope we have all gained one or two things from the presentation. We can we can ask our questions by signifying using the raise hand icon or type in the chat box.
Hello, Prof.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah. Okay. Prof, good morning.
Yeah, morning.
I have 3 questions, and they are as follows. One is that is there any gold standard or convention in terms of maybe in-text citation? Is it after a particular sentence, after a paragraph, after 2 sentences, 3 sentences, whereby one is expected to cite to place his or append his in-text citation? That is one. And 2, what is bibliography? How is it done?
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let me respond. Number 1, as I mentioned during the course of the presentation, you only provide citation when, just a minute, I want to get to the slide. Okay, this one. It's not about the number of sentences. Yeah, it's not at the end of every sentence, at the end of this, no. It has to do with the information you are providing. If that sentence is a quote, then you must provide your in-text citation immediately. Let's assume that what you have quoted has about 4 sentences. You don't provide in-text citation at the end of every sentence. You provide it at the end of that quotation. That's why we don't measure when to provide in-text citation by number of sentences. We measure it by information. Like now, if what you are citing or what you have quoted is about 4 sentences, then you have to wait till the end of it. And then if it is a sentence that paraphrases the whole idea, then you have to provide it. But let's assume you are paraphrasing something about, and the end of the paraphrase ends at maybe after the 2nd sentence, then you must provide it there, not at the end of the paragraph. Bottom line, you don't measure when to provide in-text citation by number of sentences, but by the fact that or the information you have provided. On the issue of bibliography is also the same thing. Like, or let me say, bibliography is just like your reference list. The only difference is that when it is called a reference list, then all what you have provided, all what you have listed in your reference list must have been cited in the text. And that means that you have only listed those ones that have appeared in the report. But mostly we read, let's assume that you read about 20 articles, but when you are preparing your paper now, you only cited 8 within text. So if it is reference list, it is only that 8 that you have to make available in your reference list. But if it is about bibliography, then you have to list all the 20 papers that you have consulted. That is the difference between bibliography and reference list. That's the difference between bibliography and reference list. For your reference list, you need to list all the sources you have read to help you understand or write your thesis or your assignment, and not just those ones that you have cited in the test. And then it follows the usual pattern. And then again, you cannot prepare your reference list using IEEE format and be citing in test using APA format. No, it goes together. Whatever approach you have used in the in-test citation must also be what you must use in the reference list, in your reference list. Thank you. Hope I've answered your question. Okay, we have about 4 more people here. Oyefusi Adebayo, over to you, please. And then followed by Basit, followed by Alima, and then followed by Sheikh Ismail Olojede. Please, in that order. Oyefusi, Basit, Alima, and then Olojede.
Morning,
please.
Prof, sir.
Morning, sir. Can you help me repeat the question, please?
Good morning, Prof, sir.
Morning, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm Oyefusi, sir. Thank you for the presentation today, sir. Yeah, sir, I've been with the workshop since 3 days ago. I've not been able to access the other presentation at the group level. For the
Okay.
Yes. So, and I've been messaging and no reply yet. So
okay.
How do I get all the slides from the Tuesday on, since Monday on, up to date?
Yeah, please, we are very sorry if you have not been receiving any slide and the video from us. Please, I'm assuring you, just type in your email right now. We will send everything to you today.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay, I will do it right away, sir.
Okay,
thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks. Basit Badal.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, my prof. And thanks once again for the wonderful presentation, sir. My question is, aside Medley software used in referencing, are there any other software that can be used for referencing? And also, in line with what the previous speaker or the person that just asked question, I have not gotten any slide or material for the few days we have been having this presentation, and I've also been submitting my email. So just to remind you so that you can also send those materials to my email. Thank you, sir. God bless you, sir.
Okay, thanks a lot. So I will, yeah, please, the organizer, kindly extract all the emails, and please let us ensure that at the end of today's event, we send all the materials, all the videos, and so we have been sending it to some emails. I can assure you of that. But now to your question, there are a lot of we have series of software that you can use, but let me just mention about 3 here. We have EndNote, we have Mendeley, we have LaTeX, we have lots. So it actually depends on what you want and so what we can assure you is that we are going to organize we are going to organize different sessions for some of these reference management software for us to share right there. EndNote, we have Mendeley, we have LaTeX, lots. Thank you. So please, you can share your email address there at the end of this session. We are going to communicate with you. So Sheikh Ismail Lalajade, over to you, please.
Thank you. Good morning, Prof, and all the participants. I want to appreciate you once again for this wonderful opportunity. I want to ask, and it's a personal challenge, how to manage reading and then citing references. Sometimes you want to delay referencing till you have read and things like that, but I understand that the best way is to do it simultaneously. What's the best way to go about this? Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So the use of some of this software will assist you. Number one, you can use Mendeley, you can use EndNote, and once you do it simultaneously, it will solve that problem. Again, when you use that reading log that we have provided, it will assist. Like now, in the reading log, you have the number, you have everything. All what you just have to do is to put, when you are writing that in test, it's just for you to put the number of that reading log. Once you do that, at the end of the day, you can easily arrange your work. So number one, again,
sorry, Prof.
Yeah, go on.
The IEEE style that you just explained. How can one get the numbering? You know, as you are reading, how can one get the numbering to be cited into the in-test citation? The list.
Okay.
I mean, the list of the books that has been consulted.
Okay, that's why I said I'm very, very. I know that once you use lattice, you just have to provide your list in any other, then it will automatically arrange it for you. I'm very sure of lattice, and I'm also sure Mendeley can do that too. So that's why I am of the opinion that the use of some of this software, referencing management software, will assist in solving that.
Thanks so much,
sir. Okay. Thanks a lot, sir. Yes. Dr. Asimi, you run over to you, please.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Thank you for this excellent presentation.
Yes, sir. Thanks, man.
My own is not a question per se, but a clarification.
Okay, please go ahead.
I want to know if I know that if a direct quotation appears within the sentence, it must have quotation mark. What about if it is separated from the sentence and it is indented? Do we still need to put quotation mark?
Please come again with the question.
Okay, I said, I know that if you quote an author directly and it appears within the sentence or within a paragraph, we need to put quotation marks. But if you separate your direct quotation from the sentence and you indented it separately, will it still carry a quotation mark?
Okay. Thanks a lot for that question. Actually, I'm not getting the question. So you have a quotation or what?
Yes, quotation mark. That if you quote an author directly,
yes,
and you want to cite it within your writing, if it appears within inside the sentence or inside your writings, we need a quotation mark. Exactly. But if you separate that quotation and you indented it separately, will it still carry a quotation mark?
I think, to the best of my knowledge, though I will find out more, but to the best of my knowledge, it's about the source. Yeah, it's about the fact, not about the formatting. So that's my own understanding. Because once you get the information from a source, you have to acknowledge that source. irrespective of indentation and the rest. That's my own understanding.
Okay, sir.
So yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you.
So, yeah. Popola Nuruddin and Alima Yakubu.
Good morning, Prof. Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity, sir. Sir, please, mine is on in-text citation, sir. In a situation where we have multiple authors for a particular work that one wants to cite, how do we reference? Are we to reference all the authors or probably pick one out of them? In-text citation.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I want to show you an example here.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. Okay, this one. Okay. When you look at the screen now, you can
Yes, sir.
see about the fifth one, a number of authors, including 2. That is paper number 2, and then you have paper 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is a very good example of in-text citation. You cite all of them.
So what
you
if
with me?
it is Harper format, sir?
Okay, also the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, let me show you. Okay, when you look at now look at the second to the last paragraph here by your right hand side. In our previous paper, you can see some of those papers mentioned there.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Or look at the last sentence or colon on the left hand side. Right there, we just cite a few exceptional study among others. So you can see the list.
Yes, sir.
So thank you. So for in-text,
thank you very
you
much,
cite
sir.
all your sources. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot too. Okay, then Alima Yakub, over to you, please.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good morning, sir. Thank you for the presentation. Okay, thank you for the presentation, sir. Sir, it's like if I've gotten the presentation right, you mentioned that most work that one site quotes or summarize or paraphrase should be cited, and also if that's the case, is like most 80 to 90. It's like 80 to 90% of the work will be from someone else's work. Then when does one's idea comes in or thought? It's like one's idea will be few or limited in the work. Is it right is it going to be a good academic paper to have most of the work cited, not one's idea coming in as many as possible?
Okay, if I may get the question, all right, what you are asked to do
good
with.
Morning, sir. First of all, I want to commend your efforts for this wonderful program.
Hello.
So,
yes, I can hear you, sir. Is someone
How
has
can
interrupted, sir?
Can you rephrase your question again?
Okay, sir. What I said was, is it possible? Is it right for a paper, a good academic paper, to have more citations, quotations, and summaries of people's idea than one's idea? Is it appropriate? Because I've once written a paper and the supervisor complained that most of my work are citations. There are no personal idea or thoughts from me. So I mean, what is the percentage? Is it that most of the work should come from other academic papers or from my own thoughts and ideas? Thank you.
Thanks a lot for that question. So let me also warn us that it's not always good for us to be quoting people's work directly, and no amount of quotation is not really number one. Number two, when you provide in-text citation, maybe what your supervisor was complaining about is too much quotation in quotes, not that you are paraphrasing and the rest. So if too much quote then I too, I don't normally, rather I will say paraphrase it, express it in your own words. If you look at the template we have provided, even the title of a paper, you will see that the first column reads, the first column there read description of the article's title. That is, describe that title in your own words. Don't just quote it. So use quotation too much, done nothing. But paraphrasing, summarizing doesn't mean that the work is not good. So, and then it doesn't have own understanding. So even when you are using when you are even writing your statement of problem should be laced with enough in-text citation. Statement of problem section should be laced with enough in-text citation to show that you have consulted widely and at appropriate level before you arrive at that problem. So that's number one. Number two, if you are writing a paper, mostly the third section and the you have enough time to actually put your own idea there. And also, when you are writing, when you are doing the discussion of the results, so enough opportunities there for you to have your own sentences and statements. Let's look at what we have on the screen right now. Let's look at what we have on the screen, especially about this paper that we are looking at. You will see that in-text citations, we have it there, and at the same time, but not quotation, but more or less paraphrasing and summarizing what we have there. So that is an example of good in-text citation. So to me and to all of us, I will admonish us to avoid what is called the use of quotations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're highly welcome. Okay, so who has yes, I think. Okay, Dr. Abib Bello Salahu, over to you. And when are you?
Good morning, Prof.
When are you going to facilitate a session on Mendeling or EndNote? So I have one question for you before you ask your own question. When are you going to facilitate a session on EndNote or reference management software? Okay, Dr. Abib, over to you.
Okay, sir. Good morning, Prof, and thank you for the wonderful and insightful presentation. So I'm just curious, is there any guide that determines the length of literature that must be reviewed for a standard survey paper or a review paper? Thank you, sir. For the question you asked me, I'm available at any suitable time, sir.
Yeah, okay, fine. So on the number, there's no guide, there's nothing like this is the appropriate length. And don't forget, whatever you come up with still has to be subjected to blind peer review. And those people will now give you the right number that, okay, it's even too long, it's too short, it's this. But to me, I normally just suggest that if what you want to publish is in a conference paper and you know that it must not be more than 4 pages, having a full list of as reference list is even too much. So because you won't be able to discuss extensively. So to me, no particular number, but what you have been arguing with or what you have been suggesting is that if we don't put a yardstick for undergraduate research work or undergraduate project and master's work, people may just come with 20 papers and assume, though it's not even the quantity, but we are talking about the quality of the review. You may review 10 papers and actually perform in-depth review, and you may review 100 papers, and what you are just doing is just annotation. So it is not an issue of number per se, but the issue of the quality of the review. Thank you. So on the end note, so the organizers will follow up with you to fix an appropriate date, and we are going to make a flyer and the rest. So we will also introduce us to reference management software. As Sheikh Ismail Olojede asks, when you use that software, it makes your work to be so much easier than you running after numbers and the rest. And sincerely, when you use optimized software for that, you enjoy doing the work. I'm very fast. I'm at home with latex software. It makes the work easier, and I don't have. And then I can switch from IEEE format to APA format without just by a click or so. So I will advise that we use software. So please, we are just going to take 2 more questions before we break for the tutorial, or before going for break, and then we will then join the tutorial session. Please, Isa, Sakari, Yawan, Franklin, over to you, please. So please, do we have anybody with question again? So if you have, just unmute yourself and then go ahead.
Hello, Prof, sir.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, this is Oyefusi online, sir. How can I join the next technical session, sir? I've not been able to join since 2 days ago.
Oh, we are very sorry for that, but okay, I will share all the URL right now, and then just click on any of the technical group that you would like to join.
Okay. Are you sharing it on my email or here on the loop here, sir?
Yes, on the Google Meet.
Okay.
In call message now. So I will share it right now. Just a minute. Yes, just a minute, please. Let me share the in-text message. So you can check the message now. You will see all the URLs to join different sessions. Now, please go ahead with your question.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello,
Good
Prof.
morning.
Yeah, good morning, please.
Good morning. Can you hear me, Prof? Good morning, sir.
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, this is Omozua for here. I want to appreciate all you've been doing, just like other participants have been appreciating you. But please, I joined lately too, and you've been telling us to be sending our emails. We've been sending the emails. I have not received. I wouldn't know if any other has received, but I have not received what we did from the beginning till now. I've been able to join the participation group for what we are supposed to do, but the recordings since the beginning I've not had it, sir. Thank you, Prof.
Yeah, please, all the group leaders should send the URLs to all the videos and the lecture materials for the last 3 days, please. So, but and the organizer should also mention the emails provided here, please.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah,
Sir.
good afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Olaiwola Alfa Abdullahi. I am so glad to join this event. I'm so happy. My own is not really a question per se. It's just to buttress what you've said about the use of software instead of using manual process. I know a lot of people in Nigeria actually use manual process. To solve the problem of the lady that actually called earlier, the madam that called earlier, I'm sorry, a scholar that called earlier, I think one of the tools that can be used is what we call Quillbot, paraphrasing software. And Quillbot is spelled Quilbot. It's fantastic when it comes to paraphrasing, summarizing, and even some other quotation and citation work. It will make your life easy as a researcher. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for that information. Yeah, Quillbot is very, very good. But also mine is this one. I normally advise my student to avoid it until they master the act of paraphrasing themselves. Because if not, it will just lead, they may be citing a work and rest that they have little or no understanding about the work. So Quillbot is very good. There's no doubt about that. But I just normally advise that at the beginning of our career, let us learn how to do it manually. But at the end, if you think you can now use all those ones, thank you. So I agree with you. It makes life easier, but at the same time, you are not in full control of the sentence or sentences coming out. Thank you.
Yes, you have, like you have rightly said, it is much better for postgraduate students that are very much experienced rather than other undergraduate students. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, everybody. So we are going to the breakout session. Please, I want us to look at the in-call messages now. You will see the URL to join those groups for discussion. And during that session, the major focus will be converting the field template into prose forms. Converting. So tomorrow also we shall be talking about writing a full paper. Writing a full paper. That will be our focus tomorrow. With this, I say thank you all, everybody, and see you in the group discussion. Thank you and have a lovely day. Bye for now.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
Prof.
Prof.
Bye. So you can join the various groups now, please. So please let us join. Please let us join the groups, please. Those of us that are still here, let us join the other group, please.